Hello everyone, good evening everyone. I hope you enjoyed the first day of the OFC 2026. I definitely did. I am Mario Cacamo, I'm one of the second-year directors of the OFC, and it's great to see the work of the full year of the directors, that is the culmination, if you like, in a day like today, which I think is being successful. And it's not over yet, by the way, right? It's not over yet. Before the debate, I would like to highlight an important campaign that is led by Macmillan Cancer Support, and this is in partnership with the Farming Community Network. The campaign is called the Nip It in the Bud, and it's part of the Rural Communities Cancer Project, and it's aiming to support rural communities by raising awareness of early symptoms and encouraging screening for cancer. In the last 50 years, cancer survival in terms of the survival, has doubled. I mean, the rates have doubled, which is a remarkable success story. But early detection has played a critical role in this progress. Almost 5 years ago, I was diagnosed with a stage 2 lymphoma, which is a cancer of the immune system. My prognosis in the early days was very positive, but after 6 months, well, actually it was 8 months of chemotherapy, I relapsed, and I had to go for a more intensive treatment. And this treatment included a bone marrow transplant. This is today a treatment that is taken by 3,000 patients every year in the UK. I was one of them. But what is remarkable is this treatment is only available in the late 80s. It's really, when I was born, I wouldn't have had access to this treatment, which is a great story, by the way, right, that this is a treatment we have here today. Now, while the progress we made is fantastic, I think we can do more. We must do more, and in particular in the rural sector. And we have today 2 colleagues, 2 friends, Andy and Stephanie, that will tell us about their stories. Stephanie, if you can come first, please. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. For those that don't know me, my name is Stephanie Barclay, and I manage the Farm Safety Foundation, or Yellow Wellies, as many of you may know. Standing today in the Oxford Union, I cannot help but feel the weight and wit of the history pressing gently upon my shoulders. This chamber has echoed with the voices of Gladstone, Thatcher, Malcolm X, Mother Teresa, and of course the occasional speaker who has wondered whether they were about to make history or a complete fool of themselves. In that grand tradition, I'm going to start with a confession. In 2017, I toddled off to the doctor for my annual flu jab. 5 minutes in and out, that was it. A quick prick and off I'd go on my merry way. But life, as it often has, had other ideas. After the injection, the nurse, bless her, asked if there was anything else I wanted to talk about. So, in the spirit of idle chit-chat, I mentioned that I had a few rather large freckle-like blotches that my children would point out every summer. As you noticed, I'm Irish. I am cursed with pale skin and freckles, so I've never really given them much thought. But over the years, these little sun-kissed souvenirs have grown, they've changed shape, they've bled, and they've refused to heal. The nurse took a look and made a quick call. A doctor appeared, took a look himself, and asked me to come and see him before I went home. Further inspection revealed 2 basal cell carcinomas and 2, possibly 3, squamous cell carcinomas. Not quite the 5 minutes I was hoping for. So as someone who's spent their life outdoors, I am surprisingly fair-skinned. It might surprise you that beneath this sun-kissed exterior, I have a Claudia Winkleman obsession with fake tan. I'm not joking. I am practically fluorescent without it. If you turned the lights off, I would be guiding planes into Heathrow. For the past 12 years with the Farm Safety Foundation, I have spent my work life encouraging farmers to put themselves first, to prioritise their health and their well-being. I have stood in lecture theatres, conference halls, and even marts, and I have told them, you're the farm's greatest asset. Put your own safety first. Who would fill your boots if something was to happen to you? And I am the single worst person at practising what I preach. So since that November day in 2017, I have had 3 further run-ins with skin cancer: BCC, SCC, and melanoma. I've had cryotherapy, photodynamic therapy, surgery on my beautiful face and chest, and radiotherapy. If there's a treatment to be had, I've probably had it. And here's the thing. To me, skin cancer was something that happened to other people. People that fly off to Greece and Spain and spend all day, every day, lying by the pool reading blockbuster novels. People who actually enjoy doing that kind of thing. That's not me. I am a busy person. I hate lying out in the sun. I prefer to be doing something, exploring somewhere. But cancer doesn't care how busy you are or whether you've spent your whole life telling people to look after themselves. It just shows up. So I'd like to share 3 things that I've learned. Number 1, I've learned that our bodies whisper before they scream. That tiny mark that you're just not sure about, that scab that won't heal, that little thing you keep telling yourself that you'll keep an eye on, listen to it. It's better to have your doctor roll their eyes at you than have him sit you down, cock his head to the side and say it's not good news. Secondly, I've learned the power of early action. Skin cancer, when it's caught, is treatable. But when you ignore it, when you did what I did, it sometimes becomes something much more serious. And I'm here today because I listened just in time. And finally, I've learned that even people who care deeply about others, people who dedicate their lives to helping them, often forget to care for themselves. Farmers, you know what I'm talking about here. This is especially true for you, or anyone who's ever said, sure, it'll be grand. For linking it back to what I do at work, whether you notice something unsafe on your farm or unusual on your body, saying, sure, it'll be grand, will never save your life. Paying attention will. Getting checked will. Speaking up will. I am basically a walking case study. Mistakes included, scars visible, and Irish stubbornness mandatory. Here's my message. If there is anything anywhere on your body that you do not feel sure about, get it checked. Not next month, not when things slow down, because they don't, and actually not when the weather improves. Now. Because I went in for a flu jab and came out with cancer. A diagnosis that changed everything, but one that saved me. A farmer's tan is no joke. It isn't just a little mark, and it absolutely can kill. But it is one of the most preventable and treatable cancers if you nip it in the bud. So please, don't be the person who encourages everybody else to look after themselves while ignoring your own warning signs. Don't let your body scream before you decide to listen. Nip it in the bud. Your future self will thank you, and you might just save your own life. And from that, I will pass on to my colleague, Andy.
What a story, ladies and gentlemen. I too have a confession to make. Just over 3 years ago, I dropped a bollock, literally. I was 35, I'd got a young family, I was trying to grow my marketing business, I was farming as well, we'd got our Cultivate conference coming up, and I decided to get a lump in my left testicle checked out. I'd probably had it for weeks. I'd probably had it for months, actually, if I'm honest. I just kept ignoring it. And eventually, on a family holiday in Easter of 2022, my wife made sure that I picked up the phone and called the doctors and booked an appointment for when we returned. Like Stephanie, I went into the doctors, very innocent, and he said, 90% chance that it's nothing. But just to be sure, I will send you for an ultrasound. The following week, I went for the ultrasound on the Thursday, and the Friday morning I had a call from the doctors. Now, I was very naive. I just thought the NHS would be really efficient, because the Friday morning he called and said, will you just pop in today? He sat me down, he did tilt his head, and said, I'm sorry, but you've got testicular cancer. Now, what followed on from then was further scans to find out that I'd not just got testicular cancer, I'd got stage 3. It spread to my lymph nodes, I needed an operation, and I needed 12 weeks of grueling chemotherapy treatment. That's what I decided to call my resilient training program. Now, I wouldn't have chosen to have cancer. and it definitely wasn't in my 3-year plan. But there was quite a few lessons that I learned along the way. And in the next few minutes, I thought that I'd share just a couple of them. The first one, put yourself first. Going back to what Stephanie says, look after number one. Like many of you in the room, I've got a busy job, running a business, running a farm, got a family, and you're always looking after others. But I tell you, when I was sat in that chemotherapy ward, hooked up to a pump for 6 hours a day, I couldn't help anyone. I couldn't help the livestock on my farm, I couldn't help my 3 kids at home, and I couldn't help grow the business that I was desperately trying to grow at the time. We think about it in a farm situation. You know, us, we've got a dairy farm at home, and I know the first thing our herdsman or my dad, if something just doesn't seem right with a cow, we call the vet. The next time the vet's on routine, we just get it checked just in case. Why should we be any different? We always tend to put ourselves last. Stop putting ourselves first if we really want to help others. I was very lucky. Testicular cancer, although the treatment program is really grueling, it has such a high success rate, and I'm stood here today fit as a fiddle, and I was here on the run this morning. But my goodness, it took 24 months out of my life to sort of get back to full fitness. So please, please look after number one. Now, on a more humorous note, I learned the lesson of humour and positivity. I had some of the lowest lows, but some of the highest highs going through that the treatment of cancer. I made friends with 5 very good people going through the same program of treatment with me. We would laugh on the chemotherapy ward. We set up a WhatsApp group called Uniballs. I remember sitting down with the marketing team at the time to explain that I'd got cancer. And obviously, like, the faces were in shock. And I said, listen, guys, I've only dropped a bollock. I'm not losing my sense of humour. And from then on, we had so much fun. I was the butt of many jokes, but you know what? It really got me through it. And I think no matter what challenges we've got, whether it's in business, on the farm, or health-wise, use humour and find the positives. I mean, I tell you what, if I hadn't got cancer, I wouldn't be stood in front of you lovely lot talking about my balls, which really, yeah, whether that's a positive or not. And the third thing is never, ever give up. We've talked a lot today about resilience, and I think farmers are some of the most resilient people that I know. When we've got a cause, when we've got something we believe in, never give up. You know, when people hear cancer, they think about dying. And in some way, shape or form, I had many people sort of said, have you worried about it? I was like, no, it was never in my mind. My focus was getting through that treatment. I wasn't thinking about dying or anything else. It was getting through that. And I think that resilience, that theme of never giving up. And I'm quite lucky now because I visit the Christie Hospital in Manchester every 6 months for a checkup. And I walk in there, and that is the biggest tap on the shoulder to just remind yourself to never give up. Because you look around and you see the cancer patients, and some really very, very poorly, but they are not giving up. They have that cause and that really, really desire to push through. So whatever challenges it may be, whether it's health-wise, whether it's business-wise, never give up. And finally, to echo what Stephanie said before, we have some real challenging times as an industry, and I'm sure mental health must be at an all-time low. And that is my biggest concern, because when you're not in a good place mentally, that physical symptom, that lump, that bump, that ache or that pain that you've been ignoring, all of a sudden may come round and slap you in the face. So please, I urge you, if you or a member of your family, if there is something that just doesn't seem right, get it checked out. We're an industry that tends to be keep calm and carry on. But let's do that in the knowledge that we know that everything's okay. So that's enough of me talking bollocks. We'll get on with the debate. If you want to carry on, I'm sure I'll be at the bar later. But thank you very much for this huge honour.
Yes. Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you, Stephanie and Andy, for your stories. And look, given that it's known today that 1 in 2 people will develop cancer in their lifetime, I hope that the stories will help us to really nip it in the bud and make sure that we keep improving and as I said before, getting this remarkable progress we have seen in cancer. And look, I will take you through 3, if you like, calls to action. One is be cancer aware. Don't ignore any unusual and explain ongoing changes in your health. I think Stephanie and Andy explained it very well. Even if you feel well, make use of all the screening opportunities we have. Right? This is something that we have more abundant now, and let's make sure that we use that. And please do take a flyer. You will have a flyer in your seats. Take a flyer with you. Follow this with the FCN. If you think that your organization can support the campaign, we are all behind this campaign. And it's fantastic that we have FCN here today. Finally, I would like to thank Macmillan for their support, and on behalf of the FCN and the entire farming community, and of course, thank you for your attention. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you.